Good day, everyone. I am Kaisel Jade M. Lagaras, and today we will be discussing the landlord and tenant relationship under Republic Act Number 9653. A landlord is the person who owns the property, while a tenant is the one who uses or occupies it. This relationship is usually based on a lease, which is a legal agreement allowing the tenant to stay in the property for a certain period in exchange for rent. Even though the tenant uses the property, ownership always remains with the landlord. A lease is a contract between a landlord, also called the lessor, and the tenant, also called as the lessee. This contract allows the tenant to use and occupy the property for a specific period in exchange for payment or rent. Leasing is commonly used when property owners want to earn income from the property without selling it. In a lease, the landlord transfers the possession and use of the property to the tenant but not ownership. The landlord still owns the property and has the right to receive rent. As the lease ends, the landlord can take back possession of the property. Also, a leasehold estate refers to the tenant's right to use and occupy the property for a limited time. Even though it involves real property, it is considered personal property under the law. There are four main types of leasehold estates: estate for years, periodic estate, estate at will, and estate at sufferance. An estate for years has a definite period, like months or years, and automatically ends when the time is up. Lastly, a periodic estate continues repeatedly, like month to month, and renews automatically unless proper notice is given. An estate at will has no fixed duration and continues as long as both parties agree. Either party can end it any time with notice. An estate at sufferance happens when a tenant stays even after the lease has expired without the landlord's permission. In this case, the landlord may take legal action. A lease follows general contract laws and can be written, oral, or even implied. One important right of the tenant is the right to peaceful possession, also known as quiet enjoyment, meaning the tenant can use the property without disturbance. A valid lease must include legal capacity, mutual agreement, lawful purpose, and consideration, which is usually rent. Lastly, some leases include judgment clauses. These allow landlords to quickly take legal action to collect unpaid rent. However, in some places, these clauses may not always be considered valid.
Okay, so hello everyone. I am Ray Junior Mancho, and now we will proceed to the legal principles of lease. So, a lease is often documented by a contract. For the case of short term or leases that don't have a specific amount of time of expiration, there's often an absence of a contract of lease. However, for long term leases, like for example, 1 year, 2 year, or multiple years of lease, a contract is often seen as necessary. And in terms of the possession of these premises, it is implied as a right with the landlord to give a tenant possession over the leased premises. So, for example, if a tenant is leasing or renting over a specific room over an apartment building, that's a possession with the landlord turned over to the tenant. But there is also an implied right by the landlord to resort into legal action in case of a holdover tenant or a tenant that stays even beyond the expiration of the contract, or an adverse claimant which exists because of a conflict of claims. And now, for the maintenance of the premises, there is an obligation with the landlord to maintain good condition, especially on the common areas of his property. Let's say, for example, the stairways, the hallways, the walls need to be repainted, or maybe if the tenants would request for maintenance over a specific part of the unit that they are renting. And Aside from the maintenance, of course, there are also the improvements that can be done. Well, the tenant can also request for the landlord to make improvements, or the tenant himself or herself can make improvements with the permission of the landlord. And the thing with these improvements is that, especially if they are fixtures or those permanent attachments to those units, that becomes a property of the landlord, because after the lease had expired, or after the tenant no longer rents out or is leasing over that property, whatever additions or fixtures to that becomes a property of the landlord. And those fixtures can also drive up the price. So the landlord can also raise the rent for that, which is totally okay. But if, for example, if a tenant is going to install only trade fixtures or chattel, or kung sa Bisaya pa, mga kanang dili permanente or temporary fixtures, those can be done also, but they shall be removed before the lease expires. But there's also other parts, or like about turning over the right, or where a tenant turns over to someone else. And there are two types of that. There's assignment and subleasing. For the assignment, the case is this. The original contract of lease is between the landlord and the tenant. And let's say, for example, someone is interested, or the tenant had found someone else that will continue living on that um, portion of that property, or that property itself, that he or she is renting out, or is renting in. They can assign it to someone else through a document called an assignment, where the original tenant becomes an assignor, and the other person who takes over the tenancy, or like sa pagstay nga property, becomes the assignee. But even though, like in that case, well, yes, the assignee or katong secondary person, they would now pay the rent. They're now obligated in terms of the maintenance, or like how you live in that property. The original tenant or the assignor still retains secondary liability. And why is that? Tungod man good, from the very first place, katong kontrata nga nakabutang, that was between the assignor and the assignee, or that was between the landlord, the owner of that property, and him as the tenant. It's just an assignment to someone else to transfer the um the rights involved in renting on that property. And subleasing is kind of like assignment, but it's a bit more technical, because in subleasing, like for example, there's that situation between the landlord and tenant once again, right? But the tenant allocates a portion of the property he or she is renting, or the tenant is renting, to another, like some sort of subtenant. Mo na siya gitawag nga sublessor. If full gani, the landlord is the lessor, then the tenant is the lessee. But in this case, the tenant becomes mura siyag lessor, but he's not a lessor. He's just a sublessor, because this is a subletting agreement or subleasing agreement. Then the person that rents out a portion of that rental property is now called the sublessee. So, ang mga itabuan ni is, kumbaga, ugnay mga abang sa katong part atong nga property, the sublessee will pay the rent towards the sublessor, which in turn, ang katong sublessor, which is also the tenant of the property, the real tenant of the property, also pays rent to the landlord. So, what are the specific instances that could happen? Mostly in commercial or industrial settings that exists. And that may be in a case where the tenant or the sublessor requires kanang more funds para nga makabayad sila with their rent or other operational expenses or to um, raise income on the side. And there's actually a lot. Then next there are also options. So this one, it's about the option for the leasing agreement to be renewed. So, for example, if a landlord, there was already an agreement between the landlord and the tenant, and maybe the tenant would wish to extend their contract because of, well, maybe out of necessity, or maybe the original contract was too short, so pwede na nila i-renew in favor of another contract, or in favor of the same contract nga makontinue gihapon with the same stipulations. But that also depends between the agreement of both, because that might also affect the specific terms inside that contract, which may ba ano sa nato later on. Now, let's proceed to the destruction of these premises. So, in in case of ground leases, by the way, about ground leases, you will also learn that later on. No, uh, so in the case of ground leases, in the destruction of the leased premises, the tenant is still obligated to pay rent until the end of the term, as it also includes the ground leased. So, in the ground leases, this means that, for example, someone or the tenant is renting on the whole building. But in that case, they're not only renting the whole building, they're also renting the land under it. So even if something like a specific destruction on the property exists, they are still obligated because it technically becomes a, like, a catch-all obligation, because it does not only involve the structure itself but also the land. And then next is, if a portion of the building is leased, only a portion, then the tenant is not required to pay rent further if it is destructed. But in general, like either way, it is still advisable to insert clauses concerning destruction in the lease. So let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, about leasing, about renting out, it's always in the contract. And contracts are very flexible. But even though they would follow the law, what are the unsa may nakabutang sa law, unsa gisugo sa balaod, it is still advisable, or the contracts are still very flexible because it concerns the meeting of the minds between two people, and in this case the landlord and the tenant. And let's proceed to the termination of lease. So most of the time, verbal and written leases that have no specific expiration date, it can be terminated with proper prior notice. But this is more common on verbal contracts, because in those arrangements, like, there's only a verbal agreement between the landlord and the tenant. Kanang, oy, moabang ko ani nga room, or moabang ko ani nga property, and I will pay you this specific amount, and let's just see where it goes for as long as I can stay here. But those um those terminations must be informed prior, maybe 10 days before, or maybe a month, whichever it may be. Then when the conditions of the lease are breached, the landlord may evict the tenant. But this is a very this is very technical kanishang apart, because in terms of eviction, it's not as easy as saying someone or telling someone to, hey, get out of my property because you're no longer paying the rent or you're no longer meeting the conditions or the terms in the contract. Get out of my property. It's not easy because the tenants have their own specific um, rights also, and they cannot be unjustly uh, pulled out of that property without prior notice or without due process. So it must be directed to the court to decide whether that person or that tenant shall be pulled out. However, mutual termination of lease can also be done as agreed by both landlord and tenant. So this is pretty common in the contracts that can be seen. There are provisions there or terms there that mutual termination can be done. And but there's also a caveat or naasay pero ana that if ang tenant or if the tenant abandons the leased premises, he or she is still liable of the terms of the lease, including rent. Because just because someone abandons the premises, that doesn't mean that the contract is automatically terminated. Active gyapon ang contract until the expiration date or the termination date as provided in the contract. So it's much better to really read on the contract or to really agree between the landlord and that if you are a tenant, it's really much better to agree with the landlord about the terms on the termination. But also, in the case of lease, it cannot really. This is not really about termination, but this is something that must be taken into consideration. And see, if a property is being turned over or the ownership is being turned over to someone, whether by sale, like ibaligya ang property towards another person, and that person becomes the owner of the property, they will become the new landlord. But those original leases will not be disturbed. They would still remain intact. They would still remain enforced. Uh, or even as an estate, like for example, if the landlord dies, so the heirs, maybe the sons or daughters or the children of that landlord, still continues to honor those contracts of lease. Except it can only be terminated if the property is foreclosed, like if giutang siya, gimortgage sa bangko, and then the bank would say that, hey, they the landlord or the owner failed to follow through the mortgage payment, so we will foreclose this property. Or the government declared condemnation towards that property, whether for financial or any other legal matter concerned that. So those are the only cases where it could or the or those lease or contracts to lease could be terminated. Next, about the breach of lease. In case wherein the tenant broke the conditions of the lease, the landlord may choose to sue the tenant. So maybe they failed to pay the rent or they've made damages to the premises. Those or that eviction is called actual eviction because it came from the landlord or the landlord was the one to sue the tenant. However, if the landlord was the one at fault, like for example, um the the tenant was requesting repairs towards maybe about the piping or about the water connection or about the electricity, and then the landlord never honored that obligation or that request, then they may choose to sue for damages. or they could also leave the premises on their own accord. Uh, that's it. And that's what we call constructive eviction. So, just to give you 2 cents, actual eviction came actual eviction came from the landlord, but constructive eviction came from the tenant. Next, about the tenant's rights. So, like what I mentioned before, tenants also have rights. If the owners have the right to property, since because those properties rented by the tenants are the personal properties or the business properties of the landlords, those tenants also have rights in terms of how they live or sa ilang pagpuyo diha nga property. And in the Philippines, there are two landmark laws that concerns tenants' rights. First is the Rent Control Act, and the second is the Civil Code. And both of them include protections to the tenants. And example of those are the having a habitable unit, right to privacy, protection from illegal eviction, protection from unjust raising of. And now let's proceed to the types of leases. So these are the generic character of those contracts of lease. And there are three of them. First is the gross lease, second is the net lease, and the third is the percentage lease. The gross lease is where the tenant pays a fixed amount of rent, which is inclusive not only of the monthly rent, but also of all property charges within it. So, if if you guys are experienced in real estate, um, those rentals also include like the in the case of a condo, the condo dues, or if in the case of a house and lot, that involves the homeowners association dues and other charges like maybe the bills like that. But depende na kay fixed naman gud ang rental. So whatever other inclusions ana mo na ang kuan sa gross lease. Sa net lease is different. They pay the base rent and other property charges, inclusive of maybe the utilities like the food, the water. Lahi ang rent, lahi sad ang bayad sa food, sa water, and then like that. And if sometimes that would even include like paying for the insurance of that property, or paying for like the loan on that property because maybe the property is being acquired through bank loan, or in the case of pag-ibig loan, or like bank financing. So they have to repay for that mortgage. And except maybe on the interests that or the interest earned on those charges. Like for example, if giutang, yan ay interest, na tubo. Ang katong tubo, that's not the obligation of the tenant. That's the obligation of the landlord. But this one is more common on commercial and industrial leases. Ang katong gross lease, that was common in residential leases. And the third is the percentage lease. So, about this one, this can either be a gross lease or a net lease. And the difference with this is that aside from those nga kung gingon ganina, the tenant also pays a percentage of the net income of the business that they're doing on that property. And this is more common in commercial and industrial leases. Let's say for example na ay nag-open diha og parlor, and let's say the parlor earns um in a month maybe around 5K or 10K. Then maybe gibutang na to nga or nakabutang sa contract nga 5% is like example na so 5% of that is being um, ordered as a part of the lease or as a percentage lease. So, sa katuilang net income nga 10K, 500 of that is being added as part of the rent or sa ilang bayro nun. So, mo to siya. But there are also other types of leases. And this one is actually more concerned on the aspect of payment. First is the graduated lease. So, the graduated lease begins with a very low rent at the very first parts or few months of the lease contract. And they are raised in set intervals throughout the lease that can either be fixed already on the contract or um, it could also be raised depending on the situation. Next is the index lease. So about this, the rent is adjusted based on a specific index. For example, the consumer price index or the wholesale price index. Third, the step up lease. So this one is actually more reasonable, and if technically this one is more common among long-term real estate investors when they're renting out their properties. So they adjust rent based on the increases on the value of the property as determined by periodic appraisals. So maybe every 3 months, every 6 months, or every 4 months, like quarterly, trimestrally, ilan ang ipa-appraise ang ilang property. And if there is an increase in value, they can also increase the rent. But if there is a decrease in rent over time, that is called a step down lease. Fourth is the ground lease. So this one, like I said before, muna ni akong gingon ninyo na ako siyang explain later on. So these are leases where landowner leases his or her land to a tenant that agrees to erect a building on it. The term of the lease is often long term, just enough for the tenant to find it reasonable to invest. So this could be like an office building, and actually this setup is more common in Cebu Business Park and Cebu IT Park, where the contracts are often that companies would invest on building buildings on those lots, and they would secure a 50-year lease with the landowner, which is Ayala. And so those corporations with office buildings there, the different corporations, let's say for example Concentrix, Teleperformance, they're the ones that would lease out those properties. But those are only example. But, to be honest, I'm not really that aware of this of which companies are doing those. But I do am certain with the company Globe, the telecom, that is doing that. They have a 50-year lease while though they've erected a building on it. So that's at least from what I've heard. And everyone feel free to validate that. So that's common in those central business districts. And this is often a net lease where basic rent plus other property charges are paid with the tenant. So that includes taxes, the utilities, the insurance, and other charges imposed. And lastly, oil and gas lease. So this one is actually more common outside the Philippines, especially in the United States, where leases are granted towards oil or gas companies trying to explore for oil and gas. And usually, these landowners receive a cash payment for executing the lease. But if no oil is found on the property, let's say for a year, the lease expires. And if there are if there are oil or gas found on those properties, then companies would pay lease yearly to continue their use over the land. So it's like a renewal of their status there. And that this can also be arranged where the landowner receives a royalty from the oil or gas found on those land or on those properties. So they receive a percentage, a determined percentage, and and that covers, or that is in addition to the rent paid. And the lease continues as long as there is oil and gas on those properties. But at the time, maybe when there's no longer oil or gas, then the lease would be terminated. So that concludes our reporting. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you learned a lot from our report. And thank you very much.